Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings, the Divisional Round Picks against the spread. Super Lock competition still ongoing after 2 loses last week, so it's a tie. We keep it moving forward. I am no longer in this. We also have a Cust Corner, the random topics that we're going to come up with. Reminder to smash the like button to the channel. Sub to Mayo Media Network, and if you're looking for me on Twitter, I am currently shadow banned. So follow at Mayo Media Net on Twitter. That's where you can find me at the moment until my account becomes active once again. Geoff, wouldn't that be nice if my Twitter account could be active? Or is it better that, I'm just off of it for a bit?
Speaking of somebody that has not really been on Twitter for a few days and doesn't carry it around on his portable computer at the moment, it's nice to have a box that's not yelling at you a fingertip away. It's been good. It's expedited my process.
Well, someone who probably gets a lot of vitriol on Twitter. At least I'm assuming. I would imagine that if I was you, I would be tweeting at him all the time. Very angry things. It is Tim Undercust.
Tim Undercust.
That's not my name. Yes, I have been getting a lot of unearned vitriol the last week or so. Yes.
Tim doesn't deserve any. I don't know. Why would people doesn't... Tim deserves nothing. Tim deserves... Tim is not accountable. I don't hold Tim accountable. I mean, I had hundreds of messages. Maybe people were telling me to hold Tim accountable. I have not. I haven't even. I blame everyone but Tim.
I have been very well behaved for the last 2 weeks. I have been blamed for things that I had zero impact on. Things on this show, not you, but others have blamed me for that I had nothing to do with. I was blamed for Colin Morikawa having a Sunday like no other. It had nothing to do with me, but I got blamed for it. I got blamed for what happened on Saturday night. It had nothing to do with it.
Well, that was hold on. The Chargers thing is absolutely your fault. We called you. You said you were a Chargers enthusiast. That's where you were rooting for. And I mean, Paul can break this down a little bit more because you tried to do it to the Bills on Saturday or on Sunday, but Paul may have found the key to it, didn't you, Paul?
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, 32 DCs. They're in the back of my car. I don't know how I'm going to get them to you, but they're there for you.
I won't accept
Bills
any
Mafia
payments for
appreciates
that.
you.
I didn't appreciate the Bills were going to play like, I don't know, the 7th best team this weekend. I was just frustrated. I honestly didn't want to tweet about the games at all because they were exciting games, but they were all very poorly played games. These were bad examples of football. Like, even though they were exciting, except last night and some of the Saturday afternoon game, like, these were bad football games, even though they were exciting. Like, I wouldn't want people to watch these and think this is what the NFL's got to produce. It's kind of annoyed by the weekend.
Geoff, I decided, now that I have a treadmill in my house, shout out to anyone who can do that because it's the best. You just watch some football, get some movement going. Tim, very easy way to close the rings on your Apple Watch every single day. Just watch TV and walk along with it. But I decided...
That's what I'm doing.
I decided with like 12 minutes, I think it was 12 minutes and 27 seconds left in the second quarter of the Bills game. It's like, I'm going to go for a run right now, and then I'll stop when halftime hits. And, I'll get in my, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. It was 54 minutes. It had to have been the longest quarter in the history of football.
Well, between the Dolphins being unable to call plays and Josh Allen panicking and playing poorly and just throwing deep on every play like it's NFL blitz, and the Bills calling timeout at the worst possible time, the clock wasn't running. So I'm surprised it was only 54 minutes. You could have told me it was even longer than that. I expected the Dolphins to play poorly. I had no idea the Bills were going to play that poorly.
Geoff, I think the biggest key with the Bills game was Josh Allen hit that Diggs pass early in the game, and it was just like, I'm just going to do this every time because it's wide open every time, and I don't think they hit another one.
Yes, like you, I was quick 14-17 nothing. I was probably still in like sort of my zombie state from the night before. Kind of like just maybe passed out a bit and woke up. It was 17 all. So the highlights, sometimes Josh Allen can go like full Jay Cutler, like just for a little bit. right? Like he's got that for his ability to be like as good as anybody on earth. There's also this like full Cutler moments in him. So he's got to rein those in, and those showed up and almost really cost them the game. The one thing I will say about Dolphins Bills is that it sealed for me how horrible Tony Romo is. Like there've been a lot of negative Romo talk throughout the year. I even heard Dick Ebersol, former NBC Sports president, accuse him of pretty much like packing it in and doing no research. And since the players that he's played with have left the league, he doesn't really know who anybody is. If I was a Bills fan, I would have felt like I'm fighting Tony Romo. Like what a horrible broadcaster.
Wasn't good.
Now, do you
All
think
game he's like, the Bills can't lose, Jim. Oh my God, Jim. The
Or
Bills can't
can
lose,
they?
Or can they lose, Jim?
And
then
every
the week before with the Hamlin return for a touchdown, Nance calls the play, sets it up perfectly to set up just crowd shots and cheering and let the moment hit. And Romo is just talking like nobody cares, man. He used to be good. He used to call the plays. We're like, oh, this is fun. Romo's pre-snap awesome. I swear, I don't know. I mean, he makes a fortune. He has the best life in the world golfing. But my takeaway from Bills Dolphins was the Bills played horrible, and if a good team was in there, maybe they would have lost. But Tony Romo is death to the ears.
Well, I
agree. I agree with that.
I think that, I mean, I know CBS told him to stop calling the plays, and that was like the big part of his cachet. They were just like, man, you can't do this anymore. You're kind of ruining it for people. Although I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting. Turns out people did not like that so much, at least in the executives at CBS.
They just kept, every time they did a shot over to McDermott, all I could see was Paul talking about how this guy doesn't add a single thing to this team. And if anything, he hurts this team. And like McDermott had such a bad game. This defensive genius, they gave up 31 points to the Miami Dolphins.
Well, those
weren't his fault. The yards. Yeah. They did a great job.
Yeah, the defense played defense played really well against
a quarterback
the
you've never heard of.
So they had two.
The defense played
like one drive.
Terribly.
The Dolphins had one drive. The Dolphins had like one drive of like 80 yards. It was like, whoa, they really moved it.
They got lucky that McDaniel, again, supposed to be this great run-calling coach, again, one of the most overrated coaches in the NFL, throws the ball on 3rd and 19. You can never, ever, ever throw the ball there. That changed the whole complexity of the game.
Yeah.
Paul,
right? He doesn't throw that pick there. Who knows? McDaniel did a horrible coaching job. McDermott just did an okay coaching job.
I thought McDaniel knew exactly, like, we've got to be silly and take chances, and Waddle had some crazy, like, some drops. I didn't mind their strategy of straight up Chuck Kumalooing it deep because they knew they didn't have like drives in them. I actually thought for the most part, when they had the ball, they called the win. They just didn't have the pieces, or they didn't really know how to get plays in. They didn't get plays in on time.
That's partly his fault too.
Agreed, but
Paul, you had something to say,
right? Survive in advance. So the Bills did it. Congrats, Paul.
Paul?
I just wanted to let Tim finish his sentences and continue what he's doing. Just let the guy cook right now.
Oh, okay.
I like what he's saying.
No, I'm just talking about this week's game. We'll get to the Bengals, who your opponents next week, who played even worse than you somehow. But like Skylar Thompson threw the ball 45 times. Inexcusable in a game that they were leading for a good portion of the second half and in the whole time. Inexcusable. That Wilson had 10 rushes. I don't care that it wasn't to throw that ball 45 times with Skylar Thompson is coaching malpractice. There was a lot of idiocy from NFL coaches this week. McDaniel was right amongst them. He did not have a very good December and January. He was a very poor coach in December and January, and he was a poor coach in the playoffs. And no one wants to admit it. But he was doing amazingly earlier in the year. He really tailed off the end of the year, and there's no argument to the contrary.
The Dolphins averaged 2.2 yards per carry on 20 rushes in the game, and the amount of negative runs just was really putting them in a hole. I think that's why they stopped running. Every time they tried to run on first down, it was for negative 4 yards. Anyway, it was not the worst coaching performance of the weekend. Geoff, the worst coaching performance of the weekend is whatever the name of the Minnesota defensive coordinator is. He was holding his clipboard like calling plays. I don't think that there was anything on the back end of that sheet. That was the only thing that makes sense to me in that game.
What an absolute disaster. What a great win for the Giants. The game didn't even feel as close as the final score.
The Giants just ran drag routes over the middle of the field, and they were wide open every single play. I just eventually tell the middle linebacker to stand 5 yards to 7 yards off the line of scrimmage in the middle of the field. At least disrupt the route at some point.
The weird thing about the Vikings, or at least in my sort of mea culpa about them, because as someone that had a future on them, I always acknowledged they were getting lucky, fluking, and I'm along for the ride. But when they were 8-2, I'm like, they've gotten all these fluky wins. They shouldn't be 8-2, but it's a rookie head coach, a new offense. I could see this team, maybe not winning as many games in the second or the latter part of the season, but being a better football team. What actually happened with the Vikings down the stretch is they became a worse football team almost by the week. I don't know. They got worse. They got worse as the season. They got lucky early, and they got worse as the season went on. They never found a stride, and credit to the Giants in just a very well played game. And Daniel Jones was outstanding. And I love the drive that was just run Jones, run Jones, run Jones. It was just a very effective road playoff game. And like you said, they got what they wanted. They gashed them with the crosses and the running game. It never felt close, even though for huge percentages of the game it was close or tied.
Mm-hmm. Well, what wasn't close was our record against the spread last week to winning money. I was 2-4. Cust was 2-4. The coin won the week at 3-3. Geoff 0-6. Tough start to the playoffs. So nowhere to go but up from here for you.
To take the collar. My goodness.
Pardon?
To take the collar in a week. That's. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't think I was 0-6, but I didn't realize our Ravens spread was so low. That was so bad. I thought that was the.
We all thought Lamar was going to play in that game on Tuesday, or at least I did, and the line reflected it, right?
Yeah, the line was sort of the hedge line. We even talked about it on the show. It was the hedge line between Huntley and/or Brown and Lamar. Because if Lamar plays in that game, it's probably -4.5, -5. That's why you were seeing the Ravens action. The moment he got ruled out, it immediately went to 7.5. Then it grew up, and then it came back down towards game time. And then it ended on 7 anyway, so 6.5 covered for the Bengals from the Tuesday line that we had. You guys both lost your super locks. And Tim, what?
So I just wanted to say the Bengals, it feels like it could be last year again with a better, more prepared team. I mean, they did not deserve to win that playoff game on Sunday.
Oh, they were terrible. Just terrible in that game.
They didn't do anything. It didn't seem like they could score unless it was the rejection at the goal line going the other way for a fast break. And like last year, they were not the better team, it felt like, versus the Raiders, versus the Titans for 65% of a game versus the Chiefs. The game that, ironically, with the Bengals, the game they were the better team was the Super Bowl, and that was the game they lost. How the Ravens, watching that game when it's 17-all and the Ravens are marching it, looking like they're about to take any lead, you're almost like, this could be enough. The way the Bengals cannot move the football. And when
I began to root for it. I was rooting for the Ravens at that point because I was like, the Bengals deserve to lose this game. Knock them out.
So that's what happened? And you started rooting for them?
And Lamar not being there is also pretty weird, I think. Really weird.
More on Lamar. More on Lamar here in a little bit, but we got to get to what people actually tuned in here for. So I have a theory, Geoff. I have a theory.
Yeah.
That Tim,
Seattle, San Francisco.
That Tim jumped on the Chargers bandwagon just in time for the Custy Awards ballot to be released, which you can vote on right now. It's down in the description. Go vote in the Custy Awards to try to trigger you in the most heartbreaking way possible to make you go nuts. Now, it's been 3 days. You were still kind of a fog on the golf show on Monday. You seem to be out of it right now. Can you walk us through Saturday night, or is it too traumatizing to relive?
Yeah, it's probably I haven't like decompressed it, Pat. I wasn't joking. They have like my piss and vinegar, win or lose of like a 13-year-old boy for this thing is dead at the moment. It is dead. Yeah, I don't know. I could only, everyone will have their opinions. I was nervous from halftime that we would lose. The people I was with, like, we're so screwed. I know the moment it went to shit it was like a third and a yard, and we ran this end around with Bandy, where if we just got a first down on a yard, we can end the half, go in 27-0. Everything after that is a blur. I blame everybody, every single person, and I need to reevaluate everything. I need to reevaluate everything. It's like the neighbor's kid. You see her, she gets straight A's. You think she's wonderful. All you hear is that she's in all these after school programs. She got a free ride to university, a scholarship, the dean's list, and the next thing you know, she's naked on the internet, and you're like, oh my God, I need to reevaluate everything I thought before. I heard, I was texted today that they're not firing Staley. If you spoke to me, I didn't think that they gave Anthony Lynn 3 years. They'd give this loser 3 years and let him try to fix something. But everyone is responsible. Everyone should be fired. Pizzola says, I think I'm on the team or I think I'm in the organization. They should fucking fire me. Everybody, everything. Yeah, but in terms of reliving it, rethinking it, it's just so disappointing. 2 years in a row, our season ends where it shouldn't have ended. The movies were supposed to be different. They're the same. It sucks, but they've killed my piss and vinegar. I'm not excited. Like, I don't have it. You can yell at me. I take responsibility for it. Like, I was wrong. I don't know. I don't know how they let it happen, but it happened, and like I kind of said, I did a thing with Pizzola last night. You're better off, like, it's probably like STDs that are more comfortable, like, than being a Charger fan. Just show up every couple months and cause you a lot of pain, go away for a little, and they'll pop up again. And for the herpes, keep the gift that keeps on giving, I guess.
Well, we know whose fault it was. It was the quarterback's coach and Joe Lombardi's fault because they're fired as of today.
What is that going to do?
Are they the ones that gave up all the points in the second half?
Everyone is everyone. I don't understand.
Should Telesco go as well? I remember there
being like penalties, but everything is so stupid. Hey, we suck. We blew it. I don't know. Like, I don't have like this crazy rant because I'm just sort of like numb to it, and I worry that they did irreparable harm to me. That doesn't mean I will not be a fan. Like, I will always be a fan. I will always want them to win. I will always love them. But in terms of my like emotional energy for them, they took about as much of it away as humanly possible, and I don't know. I'm at a point where it just doesn't replenish that easily when you do that to me at this stage.
You're starting to sound like Shawn Michaels in 1997. It sounds like you lost your smile.
Yeah, Pat, it's very accurate. I did lose my smile. And can you imagine the coincidence? The serendipity, the eeriness of Saturday being the 30th anniversary of Monorail Guy? How, like, what sort of world is this? And then that, like, the first half was to talk it through. This is great. And then, so yeah, this is going to be, this is going to be tough. I don't even know where we draft. I don't even care.
21st.
that is symbolically a nice.
I've spent a lot of time on Chargers Reddit the last few days.
Oh,
so,
I couldn't even. I don't even know. I mean, I've watched the games, but in terms of that, I have not seen anything. Tim, I told Pat yesterday. Do you know where I am on the internet right now?
Where are you?
I am. I'm
8chan?
just in audiobooks. Oopsies. Yeah, oops. That's where it started. The
Audiobooks.
The end of the world is just the beginning, mapping the collapse of globalization.
Wow. You know what? Good. You know what?
That's where I am.
You deserve a detox. You need a detox.
That's where I go for content right now.
Good. That's healthy. That's healthy to detox from the team and from everything for a while. I think that's a very, very good idea, and I encourage
I'm interested in this guy's case that China's going to shit in the next 10, 15 years. I paid $3.99 to hear how that's going to happen.
I encourage that.
Maybe I'll give you guys a book report after.
That would be a great idea.
Little Mayo media project.
It was just like our movie club that lasted one episode. We can do a book club that lasts one episode as well with Geoff's book report, which he'll try to do last second, but then he'll just get the Coles Notes version of it. Just like in college, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I was not good. The Americans don't know what Coles Notes are, just like they don't know what chicken balls are.
People, wait, what do you mean they don't know what Coles Notes are? Are they called something different?
Yeah, Coles was like a store in Canada.
Oh, so it's like Spark
Notes. It's
yeah.
Cliff Notes
Cliff
in
Notes?
the United States.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's the
Are
same
you
college.
saying you
short
didn't
form.
spend a lot of time in the Western Ontario Library, Geoff?
Settle down, Tim.
No, I mean I'm sure you did.
Listen, it was very, very wood paneled mahogany. Yeah, I was.
Did
in
you use
there
the microfilm and the microfiche? Did you use that?
No, that was never my thing. So yeah,
Oh,
listen,
I liked that.
it's gonna hurt. I wanted to play in the game this weekend. I would have been so excited to be in Kansas City. Yeah. So we suck.
Well,
And it sucks. I'm not even excited for a schedule. I'm not excited for a draft. I haven't decompressed. I'm sure there's going to have to be roster changes. I don't know. I don't know.
Geoff, how do you feel about the Chargers not firing Brandon Staley because they're too cheap to eat the $4 million?
Yeah, I don't even know. I think they really like him. Like,
No.
They kept Anthony.
This is a part of a larger conspiracy, Tim. And you know how this works. It's not the $4 million that they're worried about eating. And maybe they are. And if that's the case, I think it was you who actually pointed this out. We were having to talk about it, that if the $4 million is really going to make or break you, sell the fucking team, like this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
you're not even a real franchise.
I don't think it's about. I'll honestly tell you, I don't think it's about the $4 million.
It's not about the $4 million. It's about the $100 million they'd have to shell out for Sean Payton if they fired Brandon Staley. And they don't want to do that. So you got to keep Brandon Staley to have that shield of not bringing in Sean Payton and turning over organizational control to him.
It's true. The pressure would be too great on them.
Hold on. I don't disagree. And I am somebody that on this show, on anything I did, like the Sean Payton to the Charger talk was so irresponsible from people that seem to have a long-standing working knowledge of the league, right? Like, wasn't I always like, these people have no idea? Like, why do they talk like they have an idea? I don't understand. Why would it have to be Sean Payton? Like, could they not fire Staley and hire anyone else? Like, even if they why is it Staley or Payton in this theory? Or that is the theory? I don't understand that.
Because you keep Staley or you hire some other Brandon Staley type guy, some hotshot coordinator, you bring him in and hopefully, it's not even really turning it around. If you look at it objectively, it's been, 2 years with Staley now? They just missed the playoffs last year. They get to the playoffs this year. So they've improved year over year. Maybe they'll win a playoff game next year.
That's my point. They kept Lynn.
Sure, but you have the chance to go get Sean Payton right now. And if Staley was gone, it would be clearly the number one destination that Sean Payton would want to go to. And you'd be like, hey, you have this coach who's an offensive guru who's going to bring this super team with him. You have this quarterback in place. You have this defense in place. It only makes too much sense. But they don't want to bring him in. They either can't afford to bring them in. They don't want to give the control to him to bring him in. So the only way to really block that and block all the rumors for that is just keep Staley.
No, I mean, if you're Telesco, you want to have a job, which you probably don't deserve. So there's no way you're going to fire Staley.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's the internet saying? Why does he have a job?
There are a lot of people saying because he drafted Herbert, and therefore he gets to be bulletproof.
Herbert was the guy that fell.
There are people who seem to say that he's got to get out of jail free card for this because of that. There were other people saying clean house. They had
4 active receivers. Like there was some significant roster flaws that led to a lot of things that happened.
They would have had 5 active receivers if their coach had, had a
no,
brain.
but I'm saying like they never got Jalen Guyton was their deep guy. He got hurt in week 3. They never replaced a true deep guy. Like there were just a lot of things that were roster malpractice that I don't think drafting Herbert. I mean,
I don't know either, Geoff.
It's not like they traded up to be like, we want Herbert. We identify Herbert. If they thought Herbert was so good, they would have jumped in front of Miami into the Giants pick and they would have drafted Justin Herbert. Like, right?
You're right. No, and actually, I find that the commentary has been very mixed about everyone.
Mixed on what?
Some people think, there's no reason to let Staley go. It's not, he's making improvements and this team is going to get better. And there's other people saying that Staley and Telesco are the problem. And that, Staley's the one that let them run 8 times only in the second half. Or
everyone's the problem. Well, they also
this is it, right?
Run for shit.
Well, I mean, it's not only the lack of running and keeping the clock moving, because they were keeping the clock moving with these short passes at a pretty decent clip. You talked about it wasn't Lombardi's fault that he didn't give up all the points on defense. Well, he probably could have limited the Jags' possessions if he started snapping the ball with like 3 to go in the play clock instead of 17.
Or stop calling short passes because Justin Herbert can't stop having the ball tipped at the line for some reason. He's 6'10" and every other pass gets deflected. Makes no sense.
Everyone bears responsibility. I am quite pleased Lombardi is gone. They were never paying Sean Payton ever. And they're never trading a first round pick and paying $20 million. It's not them. And I don't think that's going to be the Arizona Cardinals either. So maybe Peyton waits a year. I have no idea.
Can I ask you about Joey Bosa?
I mean, that's all a blur. I know he misbehaved and he's responsible. And if you want to yell at him, I'm not going to stop you.
Well, Staley, you should yell at him because Staley didn't. He just firmly handed him his helmet.
And then he threw it on the ground again. That was that disrespect is so great.
Yeah, yeah. Shame.
Great, and that's why I guess Staley benched him the rest of the game.
I feel great. Shame. I'm not looking forward to any of it. If you give me the schedule right now, I wouldn't even look at it.
Yeah, you would.
It's a tough schedule of teams you have to play. It's a tough.
I wouldn't. I swear to God, you. I haven't watched anything, and this is the real hard part because for someone like me, I like to hear it all, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to go back and listen to the post game stuff. I don't know when I'm going to be able to have the stomach to go listen to the end of season 40 minutes hour, and I'm going to have to do it
tomorrow. You're getting press conferences.
I didn't do it with the Blue Jays. I couldn't handle that. And
tomorrow, Telesco's doing a presser, and you're getting a presser from Staley, and maybe ownership too. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't know how I'm not gonna. I promise you, I don't know that. There's no guarantee I will be out of the bookstore by the time we do the show next week, and that I have decompressed that shit. I don't want anything to do with any of it, with any of them. Yeah, I don't. In closing, I will only say it's like the lone bright spot, and you kind of saw it play out again this weekend in football. And you see why they have the 7th seed. There was a lot more entertainment for a lot of teams, and it was, I guess, fun. But the teams are bad, and making the playoffs, if you can't make the playoffs with 7 seeds in these conferences, as we've seen them, you're shit. You never deserve to be in the playoffs. And assuming maybe Justin Herbert wants to leave. I don't even know if they consulted him on this Staley thing. But with Justin Herbert, I like to think that there'll be a good chance they can be one of the 7 seeds. And again, if you're not in the playoffs in the NFL, you must be really bad, because we're watching really bad teams play in the playoffs for 2 straight years now since they put that in, or maybe more years.
It's the 3rd year of this. And
this is the 3rd, yeah. I mean, the Dolphins might be the only ones that covered the spread, and that's because
Rivers Colts did, I think.
Who?
Philip Rivers Colts covered the spread.
Oh, it might have been by a half point. Depends when you bought that one. I remember. Yeah, Frank Wright was really aggressive in the red zone that day. Remember that? Yeah.
Well, to ease your pain with the Chargers, I'm going to pull this up right now because I saw that Cust recently said it in our group chat. He just said, where was it? It was about Lamar Jackson. We had a friend to say that he would like to see Lamar in Vegas, and Tim said,
screw that. I don't want him in Vegas.
No, that's not what you said. You said, fuck that. I want him in New York. I have my heart set on that now. So I can't wait.
I mean, that is
I can't
true.
wait until
I
we
have
start
decided that's what I want.
backpedaling from this.
No, that is what I want. I'm not going to be afraid to say that's what I want. And it's not only that, it's what I expect at this point. We have now become the betting favorite to have Lamar. I want him. It's very clear he can't go back to Baltimore. So I want him very badly.
There is one way he goes back to Baltimore. I think if they fired Harbaugh, Lamar would stay.
Oh, sure, but that's never going to happen.
And he's been there a long time.
I think Baltimore is fed up.
I agree with Geoff.
I think they're fed up now. I'm shocked it got here. I didn't think it would get here. But him sort of putting those tweets out there last week, him not being on the sideline to me, I know. Listen, I think a lot of the talking heads that were like saying the Sean Payton stuff that have been around the league forever are idiots, because they should know how the Chargers would operate. But at the same time, I assume a lot of these same people are probably reading so much into him not being there on the weekend. And I don't know. I am one of those people that will read a lot into him not being there. He talked about Hundley and him being like buddies and thick as thieves, and there for him, should have been there for him on Sunday in support for that team. That speaks volumes. I think Woody Johnson's going to want to make a huge splash. I don't think he's going back there. I get why Tim should be like I get why Tim's hopes have gone up exponentially in the last 17 days on this topic.
Well,
you 100%. Hold on. I want it, and I think we're going to be very, 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 very special.
I think you'll pay the piper.
I think you'll give us the trade. Give us your trade right now, Tim, and what you pay Lamar in guaranteed money.
I would give exactly what Cleveland gave up to get Watson.
I don't think that's there.
I think it is there. Watson brought with him a lot of baggage, but Lamar brings with him the fact that he didn't play the last month of the last 2 seasons. And you're going to have to give him every cent guaranteed to make the trade.
I would, but do you believe that
I think 3 firsts. I don't think there are that many teams out there willing to pay 3
What's
firsts.
The rumor? Not blackball, collusion, that there will be no other Watson contract to anybody.
Well, that's true if everybody agrees to it, but I don't see it happening. Denver and Cleveland both gave up the world for their quarterbacks, and Lamar's better than either of those guys. But he does bring a risk factor. He also brings a unique risk factor.
I think that NFL people think that Deshaun Watson is better than Lamar Jackson.
I don't think that that's true. I don't think most people think that. If perfectly healthy, Lamar's best is certainly better than Deshaun.
But now the perfectly health, and he's now he's availability is just kind of not been there. I like Lamar, but there's some argument to the case that the money the Ravens would offer him this year would be less than what they offered him last year.
Yeah, they'll franchise and trade him. That's what's going to happen. And then whoever trades for him will redo his deal. And there will be suitors. And if it costs 3 firsts and $275 million guaranteed, Mr. Johnson's a very wealthy man. He can afford that.
Would you do 3 firsts and sauce?
I would have to probably say yes, I guess, as much as I hate that.
It's too much.
As critical as a cornerback is, and cornerbacks are critical, you Lamar is the best quarterback in the league who will become available.
I think the Ravens would run for 3 first rounders.
Oh my God!
Sauce.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think they might take 2 firsts.
I gotta say, I don't think that it takes that much. Here's what the Texans got for Deshaun Watson. They gave up Watson in a 5th. They got 3 first rounders, a 3rd rounder, and a 4th rounder. And then they guaranteed him the gigantic contract. So we've seen this trade just happen with the Texans. We just saw the Broncos do it with the Seahawks. None of these trades have worked out. I don't think people are like lining up to do this at this point. It's going to be like the Rudy Gobert thing in the NBA. It's like, 4 first-round picks. Maybe we don't do that one again.
Lamar's younger than both those guys, and Lamar's ceiling is higher than both those guys. The risk factor is clear. The risk factor is undeniable.
But you're not getting Lamar.
Lamar this year before his injury, he was as good as he had been.
Injury history, right? Like, isn't that the style of play, injury history?
Yeah,
is a huge. But
you also don't.
This year, his play was as good as ever.
I don't know about that. I mean,
he was an MVP candidate early in this year.
He was an MVP candidate for 2 weeks after he played the fucking Jets. And then we got deeper into the season, and we came on this show every single week and be like, man, the Ravens just can't score. They keep moving. They were like the Bucks. They played all these crappy teams to these close games.
But the Ravens also don't have anybody outside of Andrews. They don't have any. The Jets have a really, 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 really good wide receiver and a really, really, really good running back and an offensive line that, when back and healthy, is intimidating. So, and they have draft picks. So, if they have to give them away to get Lamar, you know what? I don't trust this franchise to use those, even though we hit 2 home runs on our 2 first-round picks this year, and the one we traded for, Jeremiah, I don't know whether he's going to pan out, but it's like, we've tried it every other way. Let's try this. This might work. I would rather go out on my sword trading for, one of the very, very best quarterbacks, the best quarterback available for trade that my team's going to see in quite some time. And, I don't. The thing is, I think there will be
Carr for free.
I think there's a lot of other teams that are going to be in on this. It won't just be the Jets making this type of offer. Is the problem?
I think that whoever Lamar goes to, Lamar is going to be good. I don't think he's going to win anyone a Super Bowl. If you want a chance at winning a Super Bowl next year with minimized risk, basically just run back the Favre playbook. Give the Packers a 1st and a 3rd for Rodgers. And just try it for a year. See if it works.
I'd be okay with that. It's not my number 1, obviously, at this point, but I'd be okay with it. Sure.
I would rather do that than give up the entire chest for Lamar.
Rodgers holds too many. Like, he'd have to agree to it.
Which I think that he would.
He would just. Him in the New York media with how he likes to.
He also doesn't like Brett Favre, and he would be traveling the exact road as Brett Favre.
Except he'd win. Except he'd win the Super Bowl, according to you, because that's what would happen if Rodgers got traded to the Jets. You'd be on here going 17-0 Super Bowl.
Well, they would have won that Super Bowl if Favre didn't get hurt.
Well, if they have Rodgers, then if he doesn't get hurt, then obviously they will win the Super Bowl.
I am not going to say that I would be upset if we ended up with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying that's not my number 1, but I'd be okay. Honestly, a competent quarterback this year would have won 10 or 11 games. They won 7 without competent play. Like, the Jets were better when healthy than like 4 or 5 of the 12 teams that made the playoffs this week.
The Jets
there's green shoots.
The Jets are plus 250, the favorite to get Lamar Jackson, but they're also 4-1 and the favorite to get Derek Carr when you look at it too. And these two markets are a little bit different. They're not near the highest. They're way down on the list to get DeAndre Hopkins, by the way, Tim. So I don't think they're going to get DeAndre Hopkins when it comes down to it. But with Lamar, it's the Jets, the Falcons are the 2 favorites to go and get him.
Ooh.
And then the Raiders and Panthers, then the Commanders and Patriots. How pissed would you be if Lamar went to the Patriots? And the Jets got Mac Jones out of it.
Well, that wouldn't happen. I don't think they wouldn't take him back on a trade, but or take him at all. But it's just like, I would be fit to be tied. I would be a very unpleasant person on this show. I'm not prepared for that type of negativity.
So he's gone then, right? Lamar is gone.
I don't know.
If you don't show up, you don't know. You don't go to the sidelines of a playoff game that are like 15 minutes from your home team's city, essentially. Like, come on, man. You're done. You're done. You're not coming back. That seems like an year. And like Geoff said, Baltimore seems just as pleased to let him walk out the door. I think both sides.
No, I don't think they're
enough.
pleased. I just think they're exhausted. They feel like they have gone down every road, and they just forbid to do the Watson deal because, again, he has an injury.
It's a bad deal.
History, yeah.
That's why you don't do it. And the Ravens,
it's a bad deal
by and large, for the past 20 years,
the only
have been
thing
a very
worse,
smart franchise.
But the only worst thing to do is not make the deal. Unless you're willing to tear the team down to the studs and rebuild completely. Because, like, having one of those best quarterbacks is kind of the only thing that matters.
What did they win with Lamar? Nothing.
Well, they went to the playoffs multiple times.
Would you
had opportunities to win Super Bowls?
Not really. They
won
one
playoffs. Like in baseball, the playoffs are.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Miami had a really good chance of winning the Super Bowl this year. Thanks.
No, but it's like baseball. That the playoffs are a one game, and even more. It's a one game sample size.
It is not like
crazy things happen. Yeah, it is. It's exactly like it, if not more red. Crazy nonsense happens in one game, and you're done.
Sure, but then you still have to win 3 more games.
I don't think you're understanding my point. What I'm saying is that to evaluate how useful Lamar was to the franchise by the fact that they didn't win a lot of playoff games is sort of a very weird and dumb metric. Like, what
are we playing for?
To win playoff, to get into the playoffs and give yourselves every opportunity to win.
But they're not doing
that. They did.
They didn't, because they were pretty crappy in all those playoff games outside of one.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Which ones in what losses did they look overly impressive in?
They were every bit the equal of San Diego when they lost to them. They were every bit the equal of the next year when they lost to Tennessee in a weird game.
We dominated them.
Yeah, but the score didn't say that.
Because look what we do when we should be up 40.
Well, that is fair enough. Like, the only game they were really outclassed in really was the Buffalo game.
So does everything for the future of this guaranteed QB stuff, it probably all depends on Burrow then, right? Like, because he can change how it goes for everyone going forward, because everyone can just say the Watson was a circumstantial one-off. The Browns are the only team in the league willing, dumb enough to do that. But Burrow, I guess, will probably be able to alter the course of all of it, potentially, maybe.
That could happen, or unless the Chargers decide to get out, which I doubt they do. But it's not like, if we're going to talk about a poor franchise like the Chargers, I mean, we're going to mention the Bengals in the next second. But didn't they sell off their naming rights?
At least the Bengals own their own stadium.
And they sold off the naming rights finally, so they can probably pay for Joe Burrow.
Fine, but at least the Bengals are a real franchise. At least they're trying.
The other one was, did you watch the Brady presser after the Monday Night Football game?
I saw clips.
I fell asleep. I didn't watch. I wouldn't want to, but had I been awake and it happened in my living room, I would have walked out and went to the bedroom.
I think he's playing. I think that, thank you was to the Tampa media.
So
I would agree with Geoff.
He'll be playing, but not in Tampa. Although at DraftKings Sportsbook right now, for which team will Tom Brady take his next regular season snap has to happen next year. Tampa Bay is the favorite at 2-1. The Raiders are right behind at plus 250. The Niners, Patriots, Dolphins, Giants, Jets, Titans is that entire list.
Raiders. If Brock Purdy didn't exist, maybe it could be San Francisco, but
Dolphins would be perfect for him.
The Raiders,
they would be perfect.
Devontae Adams and Josh McDaniels. He did not move into a race car bed to play football for 3 more months. That's how he did not do all that to play football for 3 more months.
And he didn't play badly this year either. It's not like it wasn't like he was the main reason why Tampa sputtered. They're just lack of talent and poor coaching did them.
And Mark Davis would eat that up in an instant. Well,
isn't that also another super poor franchise?
Yeah, but okay. There's still a salary cap. They can still pay a quarterback $35 million, $40 million a year. They don't make the external revenues that some other franchises make, but their ability to play a salary capped NFL roster isn't an issue. I
stand by Miami. That would be the perfect place.
Well, that's interesting. you feel so bad for that.
Because let's be honest, Tua probably can't play next year. If he does, like
He's
that would be
gonna play.
terrible.
No.
I don't know. He seems like a smart guy who's going to get good advice to say it's time to hang it up. Maybe he does.
Tua loves
I certainly
football.
hope he doesn't.
The one thing about Tua, his love of football might be my favorite thing about him. He's probably willing to die on the field. I'd go so far to say Tua was probably a little jealous of Hamlin because he wants to be the guy that lights out on there.
Ugh, I don't know about that.
No, I mean, like, Tua's like gonna die. Like, Tua will die he will not be stopped. They're not stopping his career. He will rather go out there and be vegetabled.
Well,
like, he loves it too much.
They're gonna make him sign. They're gonna make him sign that waiver that Shark had to sign in any given Sunday to play after he had 3 concussions in 5 games, which I don't think is a real
the
thing.
question is what the Dolphins look to do, but what are the?
If you're the Dolphins, you can't depend on Tua either, as much as you might like to, because even if he does want to play, and even if you have him on the roster, you can no longer assume he's going to be there. So you've got to, for the best interest of the franchise, begin to look at quarterback. You just have to. I think
that's the Rodgers destination, isn't it?
That would be a good spot for Rodgers too.
Yeah,
Miami with a good quarterback
also,
the whole year. We saw it. They almost beat. I mean, look, Buffalo is not that great this year. Clearly, no one is in the AFC that great, but they almost beat Buffalo with a 3rd-string quarterback on Sunday.
So you don't? I think Tua will be there next year.
But even if he is, will he be there in week 6?
Yeah, I get what Cust is trying to say. Like, the dependability of Tua to play 17 games into the playoffs doesn't seem super high at this point.
Who's the best option backup? Like, if you want to keep. Yeah,
because there is no best option backup.
He's going to be a free agent.
All right,
that's why you have to. If you're the Dolphins, make the move yourself because you can't be with Tua anymore.
Then bring back Tannehill as your backup.
Maybe because Aaron Rodgers to me, Tennessee, Miami seem like I guess plausible destinations.
I mean, would it be out of the realm of possibility that Stafford, if he decides to play, is all of a sudden available if the Rams just are going into full tank mode?
Not with McVay back.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, with McVay staying, I think that's right with Geoff.
Although
I still think it's 50-50 the Stafford plays, even though 50-50.
You also said Deshaun Watson.
If the Lions draft a quarterback, could you get the goof?
Yes. Oh, sure you could.
I think they would probably want to keep Goff for another year with the rookie, but I guess now rookies play right away.
I think I think in the optimal situation, you're right that you would keep Goff, play Goff, let your high-end rookie learn from him. Or if Miami's like, hey, we'll give you a 1st-round pick for Goff, like there couldn't have been a bigger win in that trade for the Lions than this happening.
Correct.
Miami's out of picks.
Oh yeah, they don't have a 1st-round pick.
They forfeited one. They traded one for Chubb. They I mean, they made the Hill trade. Yeah, Miami could be real interesting if they decide to move on from Tua.
Again,
that's almost unfair. I feel bad that we have to have that conversation.
I do. I feel terrible about it too. But if you're the Dolphins front brass, like you have to face the matter squarely and say, as much as we love Tua and as great as he played when he played for us this year, we just can't bank on it
anymore. Are the Jets on that Brady list, Pat?
Yeah, they're like the 6th or 7th favorite. Like he's far more rumored to be going to Vegas or what was the other one that I said? Miami. Yeah.
San Fran.
That would be such a heel turn. I don't even think people are ready for that heel turn.
If Brock Purdy
that would be the greatest move in villainous football.
If Brock Purdy goes to the Super Bowl, what is Trey Lance worth to somebody?
I don't know.
Maybe to the Dolphins.
Maybe for a 2nd-round pick. But I don't think San Francisco...
I feel bad now making QB trades to the Dolphins. Stop it. It's rude. My quarterback sucks also.
Okay, but we're not talking about replacing Herbert.
No,
when he asked to leave.
When he asked to leave, you can have Derek Carr. How about that? Drew Lock. Get him in there. It'll be fine. All right, we've talked enough about all this other stuff. Is there anything else from last week or any sort of stories going on besides LIV Golf apparently signing with the CW for their network coverage? That's great.
That was real. That it was a thing, and then people said it's not real, but it's real again.
Outkick. is reporting that LIV Golf reportedly set to sign TV deal with CW Network from an hour ago. As I'm looking to this, Sports Illustrated is reporting it. I don't know.
For something that starts up again in a month, like year to date, I give them like credit. Tons of credit. Year to year, it didn't exist a year ago to what it is now, to the roster they have now. That's credit. That's a win. But I really thought from year 1 to 2, there would be a lot of like finer edges that they would be able to like figure out, like things sort of calm down. They're not doing it all on the fly by the seat of their pants. But as their season is like a few weeks away, it feels like it's very much still flying by the seat of their pants.
LIV Golf.
When is your Team 4 Aces sweater coming in?
If LIV Golf didn't actually exist, if they didn't play the golf or there was no tournaments, I feel like it would have exactly the same traction as it does right now if it was just reportedly going to happen. It would be like brilliant social media marketing. Like, why even have it? Like, we signed all these guys. Okay, that's great. At least they wouldn't be losing the money of actually putting on the golf tournaments.
Yeah, but you have people who have been lifelong fans of Ironheads GC who don't want to lose their fandom, by having them not play. Or the Crushers. Don't forget them.
I liked when Bryson said that the franchises are going to be worth like billions of dollars at some point.
It's such a ludicrous league. I mean, as I told you, I thought Greg Norman should have been Sportsman of the Year in the same way that like Time Magazine gives Person of the Year, not to the best person, but to the most influential. I think Greg Norman was the most influential person in sports last year. And yeah, with Geoff, I'm surprised that with a month to go before Mayakoba, like you basically, what is LIV up to? No one has any idea, really. Their full schedule is not even out yet, for heaven's sake.
They're busy negotiating with Vince McMahon.
Or they're busy investing into LIV bots to troll Geoff.
No, none of that. None of that. We're good.
Another person of yours who's a rival, Geoff, certainly took victory laps this week on Twitter, which I'm sure you'll be glad to
I forgot about that. Yeah, Acho was all
taking
over
victory laps.
Whatever, sure. Exactly. I don't need that. I don't need that poison at my fingertips. It's just a weird. The guy's played 3 years. If like you want to die on the hill that Justin Herbert isn't good, that's weird. I saw some people who I really like who are very, very popular on the internet, with like anti-Acho tweets, pretty much saying he's probably the weirdest guy on the internet or on Twitter.
Weirder than you.
I was going to say probably isn't the weirdest guy. Just gonna say he's probably not the weirdest guy on the internet. Just gonna put that out there. That's probably not true.
No, I don't know what it was. I have so many.
Good take, TC.
Like honestly, you think like my dog died. The like amount of messages I got, and some of them are so. Oh my god!
You think that think that your dog died? I was getting DMs like, "Can you check in on Geoff to make sure he's still alive?" And it wasn't just 1 or 2 that I got. Paul was getting them too. I think people really overrated like how into this you were.
We could almost do a segment of me like reading some of these messages.
At least,
here's the question: did people reach out to you in DMs, Geoff?
Oh yeah,
express condolences. That's the best. I knew that I didn't reach out because I know that I wouldn't want anyone talking to me after that type of a loss. So you give a person that kind of space.
I would have probably, if one of my good, listen, I'd be like, head up, champ, you're the man, even though like your team sucks. But
I get it. I spent like a week. I spent days in bed after the Jets lost the championship game to the Steelers, and that wasn't anything like what you went through.
Yeah, I don't know. You get up the next morning, you play with the kids. What are you gonna do? It's football. I got
the
nothing.
sun will come up.
I got nothing. I got nothing to actually complain about. This hobby that I like, I enjoy watching football. I have a favorite team. They let me down a lot. That's weird. I don't know.
It is worth pointing out, though, when something awful happens to Geoff like this, his team loses, people are checking in for his well-being. When this stuff happens to Tim, it's the exact opposite ratio of this stuff happening, isn't it, Tim?
Yes, people take real delight in my misery, and that's fine. I understand that. I'm not a sympathetic character the way Geoff is. I get that. People feel for Geoff. People want, whatever. That's okay.
Let's get into the games this weekend. There's 4 of them. The first one is in Kansas City. The line is -8.5 at DraftKings Sportsbook right now. 53 is the over-under. We got Trevi versus Mahomes. I mean, Steffi Graf, Geoff, was down 2 sets and on match point, and got the break. Ended up coming back. What are the chances that Lawrence and the Jags are this year's Bengals from last year?
This should have been me. I should have gotten to go. I would have strolled that parking lot in a Derek Thomas Pro Bowl jersey, eaten your ribs, and then done
subpar barbecue.
What?
Subpar barbecue.
You've never been to Kansas City, have you?
I've had Kansas City barbecue.
How have you had Kansas City barbecue yet you've never stepped foot in Kansas City?
They have Kansas City style barbecue. Well, it's like saying if you haven't been to Chicago, you've never had Chicago style pizza. Like what a dumb thing to assume.
I would not. I would not. Hold on. I would not assume that I knew what good Chicago style pizza was if I hadn't gone to Chicago and had the pizza. It's not like going down.
Good Chicago pizza is Pizza Hut. That's what he considers deep dish.
Well, that is deep dish, but it's not the same thing. I've actually had Chicago-style pizza in the Chicago airport, but Carolina barbecue or New York barbecue is better.
New York barbecue better than Kansas City.
You've also never been to New York. You've never been to Brooklyn.
Not true. I've been to New York.
The airport.
When you were stuck on the tarmac with me for 3 hours?
Yes. I was also in Newark once in the airport.
That's not even in New York.
What's your case again for New York barbecue being like you saw some Instagram?
It's not covered in those unnecessarily sweet sauces, which is what Kansas City barbecue. And if you ever buy the Kansas City style barbecue sauce from Heinz, what you'll notice is it's way too sweet. Carolina barbecue is more mustardy. I've had that at like smokehouses around here. Yeah. Delicious. Carolina barbecue or New York barbecue far superior than Again, and St. Louis style barbecue is like tomato sauce, which also sounds terrible. Kansas City barbecue, not that great. Football team, not that great, but should cover the spread.
Well, Geoff, everyone should go vote in the Custies right now. You said you were going to campaign in Wisconsin this year. I don't think that Tim's going to Missouri. He's giving that one up.
Yeah, I don't think
that one's
Tim's
yours.
I'll be campaigning, but there was just an incident in-house this week. So,
and as you noticed, we suspended the campaign. We didn't take shots.
Listen, I didn't notice because, as I said, I didn't have that little bird yelling at me. But
just like last year when you tripped and we sent out that tweet saying that the campaign felt bad for you, and we gave our condolences. So as you went through a tough stretch this weekend, we as a campaign went dark. It was the kind thing to do.
I appreciate that, but it would have I assumed in like having all those mentions, then somewhere there was some campaign pieces. But if it didn't happen, then
it didn't.
Sportsmanship. What I went. Yeah, I like to think I would have done the same.
I think you would have
started campaigning.
I actually think you're taking this better than I would have been than I would have taken it.
No, in fact, but Tim, it's so bad that they killed the life of upset and anger. They beat down so bad that I at the moment don't even.
Oh, I can appreciate the tone of your voice.
We're here talking about winners. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the winners. They're in this game. We saw
how many touchdowns is Kelsey going to have in this game?
We saw this game on, I think it was November 13th, 27-17. And I think the Jags won the turnover battle in that one, like +3 or something like that. And Kansas City just stomped a mud hole in them. It was just like whatever match was going on, you hear the glass break, Stone Cold runs out and just wipes the floor with everyone. Remember we were watching that game? Whoever the hell number 5 is on the Jags defense team, remember he was everywhere in that game just committing penalties?
Everywhere. Constantly.
Rayshawn Jenkins?
I don't know who it was. It was just like, hey, there's number 5. He is hitting that guy well before the ball was there. He was just everywhere.
He's been really good. I'm going to take the Jags. I just think they keep it close, but nothing here surprise. If Mahomes wins by 21 or if the Jags just keep it sneaky muck. I have no opinion. I hate this game. I don't even want to watch it.
I like Jacksonville too, Tim.
I don't think Jacksonville's defense can hang with what the Chiefs are going to do. I mean, like I said, Jacksonville is the worst in DVOA against tight ends. Kelsey happens to be the best tight end in football. That alone militates against Jacksonville. I mean, they lost by more than that the last time they played. They lost by more than the spread. I thought the spread would be a little higher. I thought it was going to be 9.5 or 10.
Did they onside kick and get it in that game too? Am I misremembering?
They could.
That?
I don't remember. You could be right.
The who's like Hart? They have the backup tight end. Let's play his props. Hartman or something. He's caught some big plays.
I don't think he's on the team.
No, I don't know. It's like 84. He burned the Chargers. He's burned a lot of
Gray. What about Gray? Gray would be perfect to score a touchdown in this game.
Noah Gray. You're thinking of Justin Watson, I think, who's actually just a receiver, Geoff. He just burns down the field.
Nah, there's a backup tight end that's been real sneaky.
I think this game is going to play it a lot like the San Francisco-Seattle game, and that the Jags will keep it close early, and then eventually the Chiefs will take control and just squeeze the life out of them.
It could be a revenge game for Blake Bell, who used to be on the Jags, who is the third string tight end.
Mart Bell?
Yeah, Mart Bell, one of the killer dynamos.
Tim, you're 100% right in that regard. And we see that a lot in the playoffs. Like, I certainly would have no interest in teasing the Jags. You know, like even at 15, like there's a floor here that could get just really silly. And
every team except for Tampa led at some point in the wild card weekend.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I agree with you, Geoff. Like, I like the Jags to cover. I would not tease this up because I could see that losing pretty quickly too. Like, it does feel like this is a game the entire way, or Jacksonville backdoors it to get within that 8.5, or they just get wiped off the map. Those are like the two outcomes. And Cincinnati just hasn't been doing that. Like, for as bad as the Bills and Bengals played last weekend, let's not forget this Kansas City team. The exact same Kansas City team went to overtime with the fucking Texans like 3 weeks ago.
They did. One of the funniest tweets I saw all weekend was somebody had the gif of the Chiefs last Saturday running around in a circle before that snap against the Raiders and just said, "Here are the Dolphins with 4 seconds left to go on the play clock."
Jesus
I lost it. Whoever tweeted that out, that person was a genius.
I would check, but I can't do Twitter anymore. So that's unfortunate for me. You have to screenshot it and send it to me, please.
Okay.
But, you know, never mind. It's so nice a day or two without Twitter.
Yes. I keep saying, I hope they shut Twitter down. I mean that.
Well, that means it's going to be around forever then. You've now reverse cursed it into being around forever. I'm just going to be shadow banned forever.
I don't know how that works.
Well, I took because in the Dolphins game, when I was watching it, there was whatever the third down was, where Tyreek Hill was like big and up and Jalen Waddle coming out of the huddle, like giving him a pep talk after they broke out of the huddle. It's like, this is very clearly going to Jalen Waddle on this play. And it did, and it wasn't even close. So I took like a video of it and posted it. And I think as I posted copyrighted material, I got banned.
Oh no, was there any way out of this?
Yeah, I just have to stop tweeting for like 3-4 days and I should be back.
Okay.
That's why I moved.
People should follow the alternate site.
Yes, at Mayo, at Mayo Media Net. That's where I'm looking at it right now. So I can use that to tweet with the peoples, and I'll be tweeting out their show. I got to leave mine dormant. At least that's what we think is the way to get back in on this one. So Jags for everyone except for Tim, who's taking Kansas City minus 8.5.
Yes.
Okay.
Teasing them down.
Oh, you're teasing them down too. How many points?
To 2.5.
This is going to be, I mean, I just did the huddle on Odds Checker with Ross Tucker, and this was his Super Saturday special. Like, when you look at minus 8.5, minus 7.5 for the two Saturday games, everyone is teasing those teams down and putting them together. So be afraid.
It's like the college football, not like, the Michigan, Georgia teaser.
Well, I agree in part, but I'm not teasing the other game down.
Well, see, it's funny, and maybe this is a bit of a zag for me. So the Saturday night game is Giants at Philly. The Philly is favored by 7.5 points coming off their bye week. Obviously, the Giants look fantastic. Daniel Jones plays the best game of his career. Funny thing, Geoff, you know that his two best games this season? You know what they had in common?
The Eagles?
No, they came against the Vikings, who can't play fucking defense.
Yeah, makes sense.
I love the Eagles in this game. I think that everyone has just hopped on the Giants bandwagon. Like when we were talking about like who's going to upset and maybe win on Saturday, everyone will pick the Giants. No one will pick the Jags. I think the Jags have a better chance to beat the Chiefs than the Giants do right now against Philly. I think Philly is weirdly being underrated. Lane Johnson's going to be back for this game. They basically have everyone besides Maddox back on the defensive side of the ball. They are full go. They are at full health. And I think the people are just, they're getting high on their own supply with the Giants right now. I like the Giants. I think, obviously, they're very well coached. We have those Dayball futures. I hope those win. I think that they could win this game, but I was shocked to see this was only -7.5. Like, this should be, you talked about the last game being double digits, Tim. I think this game should be double digits.
Well, all fair. Couple of reasons that I think it isn't and why I like New York. First, the Eagles, when was the last time the Eagles played a good football game? It's been a minute since the Eagles have looked good. They
basically before Jalen Hurts got hurt.
Okay, and then he came back last 2 weeks ago, and like the Giants made a run. And I'm just saying, the Eagles didn't look dominant.
I think people are misremembering how that game went. Hurts played really well in the first half, and they were up like 20-0 or something, and they were just like, and then they won.
Just saying, it's been a while since we've seen the Eagles look good. Secondly, as we saw this week, divisional matchups, the third time around, favor an underdog covering and keeping it close.
Like
two
Seattle.
of those three. Seattle didn't cover, though they led for a good portion of that game. Miami and Baltimore both covered. Miami and Baltimore both had real chances to win those ball games late. If you don't take the divisional factor in, you're not, I don't think, looking properly at the game. It doesn't mean you can't take the Eagles. Of course you can. But I'm just saying, the divisional component of it is a significant factor. And the Giants are playing free and easy and with house money. And, there's no reason to think that they're not going to lay it all on the line. They're not going to get nervous in the spot because they got nothing to lose. The Eagles have everything to lose. So for all those reasons and the fact that I think the Eagles peaked in late November and are just simply a bit on the decline, and the Giants seem to be peaking at the right time and playing freer, and the Giants are better coached, taking the Giants. I think they keep it close.
The coin is going with you with the Giants. And, Geoff, I see everything.
And I'm teasing them up.
You're teasing them up, okay. So
I'm teasing the Giants up, sorry.
Teasing them up to 13.5?
Yeah.
I see it. I get the reasons to take the Giants in this game. I just happen to think that people are wildly underrating Philadelphia right now, who was the best team in the league all year.
I'm with you, Pat. I think the line is still probably a little bit low for me. I like Philly with the time off. Am I concerned that, they got to start it up again? Of course. They can't start flat. That could be a concern, but I'm going to take Philly at home here. Yeah, it's up the bad news Bears Giants.
It's one thing to look really efficient offensively, and when you can impose everything that is drawn up for you, and you're running Statue of Liberty plays against a defense that seems like it has 3 people on it when you're going against them, is a lot different against a now almost fully healthy Eagles defense, which happens to be quite good. And absolutely annihilated you in the last serious game that these two teams played was what, in week 10 or something like that, and Philly put up 48 points.
Yeah, but the Eagles, like I said, I really think the Eagles peaked.
I mean, that was their last great game. Was this at the Giants?
Well, that was 2 months ago.
Yeah, I agree. And then the next week,
and the Giants have played great.
And so, the next week, played great. They still lost to these same Eagles in week 17.
No, but they literally played nobody. Nobody. The Eagles had to play.
I understand that, but let's see. Who have the Giants played? What were the great games? Was it their tie with Washington? They beat the shit out of the Colts, who we think was the worst.
Well, beating Washington in Washington was a huge win.
It was, but the Commanders aren't good. They lost to the Vikings, who they just ended up beating. They're a good team. They deserve to be in the playoffs. They can win this game. I just think that the Eagles are in the tier with the Chiefs and the Niners, not. There's so much closer.
I agree with that.
And the Giants aren't.
I agree with that. But you're asking me to give them over a touchdown in a playoff game, and I just don't see it. Sorry, I don't.
All right. Gets us to the midway point of the show, which means it's time for a mini version of Cust Corner.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner.
So I saw something today, and it sparked an idea in me. There is a local place that's offering this contest where if you eat like a huge pizza, you get it for free.
It's 7 pounds of pizza.
And you also get like money, and the money donated to a charity in your name.
So you didn't even get.
And it occurred to me, why aren't restaurants doing this all the time, all over the place? This would be such a great idea if like everywhere, like if a Chinese restaurant had like a big massive pyramid of chicken balls that you had to eat in 30 minutes, or if a sub shop said, here's a 12-foot hoagie that you've got to eat in an hour or so. It's great publicity. You can give money to charity. People would be desirous to take on that challenge. It would be fun. Why aren't more places doing these types of contests where it's eat something massive and get it for free and get some money and for charity? If not, then you lose and it keeps the stakes going. It would be so much fun to do.
I agree that it is a good promotional tool for like a really low rent place, because you see like low rent steak places or bars have this sort of thing with giant steaks that you can come on and eat, and you win and you get your name on the wall or something like that. It really kind of downgrades any place that is trying to have any sort of respectability to it, because
do you know how much I love to have my name on the wall for that type of credit?
I understand how much you would like it, and you also love like really shitty restaurants, so that would make a lot of sense that you would be really gravitating towards this. But Geoff, he kind of got into this with us as we were talking through it. He has no idea how to eat a lot of food, despite the fact that he eats a lot of food. It's really weird. Like, Tim, give us your initial strategy for eating the 7-pound pizza.
And you get to do it with another person. It's not just you. You get to do it with another person.
Sure, you and your teammate.
I show up with the tank as empty as humanly possible. I don't want there to be anything but empty space for the pizza that I'm going to deposit in there.
See, Geoff, do you think that is a good strategy or a bad strategy?
No, that's a horrible strategy.
Exactly.
I know a lot of people have probably had this happen where like you really eat so little that you're so ravenous that you order like so much food, and then like 5 bites in, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You're not nearly as ravenous, or it doesn't have the effect, but I don't think that is a good strategy. This is all grotesque, and I feel like I've said it before, but I did this once, and my name is on the wall. I don't even know if it still exists. It's Shula's Steakhouse in Tampa. I ate one of those things, and then I was on a trip for Jay's spring training in my younger years.
And did you have the tank empty when you got there, or had you eaten 3 bags of chips and a half a case of Diet Coke before you got there? Apparently you're supposed to do.
No, see, this was Tim's 2 options, because we told him, like, this is a terrible idea, because when you don't eat and you're like starving yourself, your stomach is going to shrink, so you're not going to be able to actually pile in any of this food. You're going to hit a breaking point, and you're just not going to be hungry anymore, and you're not going to be able to eat it. And then Tim counters with, all right, well, I'll drink a 6-pack of Diet Coke and have 2 bags of chips. It's like, well, now you're completely fucking full. Like, have a few...
Yeah, the carbonation isn't good either, I don't think.
It's not.
I don't understand that.
Have a glass of water and, like, a few crackers or a light salad or something like that.
Go talk to Hustler. I think he's, like, judges some competitive eating. He'd be the man I think you should talk to.
Well, Cam would be able to tell us what to do.
Why? Why would Cam be able to tell you what to do?
He's been in like eating contests, has he not?
He's in eating contests. Like, he showed up to Shula's shows and they're like, hey, Cam, bet you can't eat these 70 wings. And he gets drunk and tries to eat them all. That's not a professional eater, Tim. Professional eaters look like my guy, fucking Kobayashi from Japan, who's banned from competitive eating. But he was the best. He was like 110 pounds.
It is so rare for Cam to come on that show and tell a story I haven't heard of. But Cam just being a dressed up piece of hashish
as the hash man.
That was right before he started working at Fantasy as well, because I remember
when he gave the timeline, I was like, yeah, that must have been in that like little window where before we brought him into Fantasy, and oh my god, I died.
Yeah, because I remember him and Gabe, like, at nighttime twice a week, were doing this, like, weed show on some weird stream with what seemed to be the sketchiest person in the world. And then all of a sudden, Cam was just working at Fantasy, and then he was on some site.
That very sketchy person ran a very reliable door-to-door delivery business.
Ah, now that it has become legalized, and that was pre-legalization.
Yeah. They're still yeah. I don't know. I feel like because I have some of these services, but then you'll get these random texts like, buddy left our team and he stole the contact list and he's starting his own delivery service, and you're gonna get emails. There's like some delivery service wars going on.
Interesting.
Right now.
Would not have thought that. Although Tim's strategy for competitive eating seems very terrible. Like, Tim, I would out-eat you in a competitive eating contest.
Well, maybe, but it's just
it wouldn't even be close.
I don't even know if I could do it. I think I could, but I'm not out here to say I'm like a pro eater. I'm not a pro eater. I love watching eating competitions on TV. Like if I'm flipping through the dials and there's an eating competition, I'm on. I'm watching it.
No, thank
you.
Thank you.
Not as often as they used to be. I feel like Spike TV used to have a lot of those on, if memory serves. But those were like you stop, you watch. People like eating 100 chicken wings or trying to avoid a reversal of fortune, which is what it's called when a person throws up.
But it happens all the time. It's fucking disgusting. Like whenever you watch competitive eating competition, it's just like watching it when it's on the challenge. It's not cool. It's just a bunch of people fucking throwing up the entire time. It's gross.
It's repulsive.
I'm not repulsed by it.
The hot dogs and shit. That's gross.
Oh, you're just like that guy. I remember when in like the late '90s, Geoff, and you could get Jerry Springer Too Hot for TV on VHS. And the very first one was the guy who was like having beats to women throwing up on him. I think that's Tim.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
No, what I'm saying
coming out, I think it's really tough. And then Steve Wilkos would be there before he coached the Panthers. There's a whole thing.
I just think it's really
Geoff the Vomit guy.
It's just really hard to eat competitively. And like, I just think it's interesting when people do it. And I think it's good publicity for these restaurants. And I think that more places should do it.
No, Pat nailed it. It's like a low rent restaurant thing. It's like a wing joint. Like, come see if you can beat the guy's record for Armageddon wings. You want the place where you got that table side Yukon gold mashed potato. Those sorts of places don't offer these low rent.
You're right.
Come here, gorge yourself like an animal.
And the places that you're talking about, the low rent places, a lot of the time can't afford to be putting on these sort of promotions, just giving shit away for free. So it's a give and take.
Make it a really tough challenge. And there are consequences if you fail. You have to pay for it.
Okay.
I just think it's this week.
What's that?
I hope he's got something else.
Hey, listen, we're into week 20 right now. We're running thin here. I'll cobble together a best of, and we'll be good to go. I did have something for him. Oh, yeah, no, almost on the same vein of this, because we were arguing about Tim's favorite Chinese place last night. We were just sending him all the one-star reviews.
We weren't arguing about it. You came out of nowhere with these nasty reviews that you were posting in our chat thread. They came out of left field that we weren't even having a chat at that moment. The thread had been silent for a couple hours. And you just come right aboard me, like trying to, to commandeer my vessel like a pirate on the high seas by swinging across with all these terrible, Yelp reviews or whatever, which are not consistent at all with the types of experiences I've had there. And B, I'm not even sure we're on the up and up.
Yeah, it's funny because there was the reason that it came up because I read this negative review of the place, Geoff, and the way that they described why they hated it is exactly how Tim would describe why he likes it a lot, which I just thought was hilarious.
You're right about that. The first one was like, oh, there's way too much sauce on the chicken ball. Oh, you just want to eat dry batter then? That's what you want? Like, get bent. You want lots of sauce on the chicken balls. That way you can pour it on your rice or pour it on your egg rolls or you can pour it on stuff.
What sort of like health inspection? Like, is this sort of like just a conditional pass kind of place?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the last place that Tim was big on, like the really shitty steak place that he loves going in our region, there's two of them. One of them just closed due to lack of interest, and the other place
hasn't closed yet.
Oh, it hasn't closed yet, so you can keep going to it. The only one that will now remain open continuously gets shut down because there's mice shit and everything.
Come on, Tim.
Steakenstein?
Yeah, that's the place.
Yeah, I looked at the menu and I was just like, nah.
Yeah, the $7 steak wasn't doing it for you.
We'll go somewhere else.
But
I will say nothing but nice things about those places. They've always treated me well.
But one thing that
I'm a loyal customer. You're not. I'm a loyal customer.
No, I go to
places.
I go to different places all the time to actually try them. And then if I go back to a place, it's usually because I like it, not because I had been there before.
Yeah,
No, I'm a loyal
places
customer.
where the maitre d might know him, and it's a nice place.
There is no maitre d at this place, Geoff.
No, I'm talking about the places where Tim's like at the.
I get recognized at McDonald's during Monopoly. I get recognized at McDonald's during Monopoly.
Pat is loyal at places with like a maitre d'. They're like, "Hello, Mr. Mayo, welcome back."
I mean, I don't really frequent the same places all that often, to tell you the truth. I generally, like, if something new comes up, I like to try that, or if there's a place I haven't been, I'll go out of my way to go to a place that I haven't been versus consistently going to the same place. There's a few places that I've gone, like, if I know, like, I'm going out with Tim or something like that, or I have friends in town, I'll bring them to a place that I know is pretty good, but if it's just me and my wife going out, then, fuck, we'll try wherever.
I like what I like. And I like to patronize the places that I like to patronize.
But you don't know what you like. As soon as I moved back and we started going to all these new restaurants, all of a sudden these new restaurants have really moved up your power rankings. They were always there.
I don't think I've disliked one of them. I think that I've really enjoyed them.
But you would have never gone there, ever. You would have never tried a new place.
Probably not.
But shouldn't that give you an indication that maybe you should be trying some more places? That all of these other places that you went to are pretty good?
I have nothing against trying new places. Nothing against that. But it's just like, I also do believe in loyalty as a customer.
Why?
Just the way I was raised.
There is no loyalty in being a customer. That doesn't make any sense. The company should be loyal to you, not the other way around.
Well, they continue to put out what I think is a delicious product.
I mean, is it
Can
delicious?
I tell you?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Geoff. Sorry.
I feel bad, but I'm happy at the same time. Literally up the street from me just opened a pizza joint that is like my favorite in the city. When somebody who does pizza reviews was in town, I think it was one of his top Toronto scores, maybe his top Toronto score.
Now, does this new place also have a big anti-vax agenda?
No, you're talking about a barbecue joint I liked in an industrial part of town that the guy went hardcore anti-vax, and that was barbecue.
Did you have to throw the sauce out? Did you have to throw the sauce out?
I never saw the sauce again. So I don't know what my wife did with it, but the last time we were there, before everything went to shit, I bought like the take-home sauce because I love the sauce, and then when he went on his campaign, I never saw the sauce again. But there's this little like Italian guy that's got a pizza joint down the street, and I feel
Is his name Little Caesar?
No, it's like Divincenzi or something. Anyway, I felt so bad.
Hey,
I felt so bad for him that I bought a pizza from him last week, even though I wanted the newer place because I'm like, this guy's so screwed. And I like this man, and he makes a decent pizza, but he is so screwed because this place just moved in, and he's in big trouble.
Okay, see, I can see more of it in, like, that is a mom and pop shop. Tim is loyal to fucking, like, McDonald's.
Well, yes. But that's not the only major company I'm supportive of.
No, that's the thing. Like, Geoff is trying to support, like, local community, small business, and you're like, I support major corporations. They have my loyalty for life because I'm a loyal person. Like, that's ridiculous.
I mean, if there were mom and pop spots, there's a coffee shop that's by my place. It's sort of mom and poppy that I go to on occasion.
On occasion, but you go to, like, Tim Hortons and Starbucks every day.
Well, that's what I like.
Okay, then there you go. Okay, never mind then.
Oh, actually, although I really haven't recently.
What?
I think I've been to Tim Hortons once in the last 2 weeks.
Well, you live by a Starbucks, so that helps.
I live by a Tim Hortons as well.
Yeah, but Starbucks is better.
I've been to Starbucks twice in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, you're really cutting down on the caffeine, huh?
Well, I've been making coffee at home or whatever. Yeah.
Well, Geoff, the point I was trying to make like 10 minutes ago, and I got completely sidetracked from, was around here, the portion sizes are way too big. And then people complain that the portion sizes aren't big enough. It's truly confusing. Like, how much food do people need?
People want as much food as possible for as little money as possible.
I know.
Would you say that they're like, way bigger than here?
Yes. It's like being in America. Like, it's the first thing that anyone,
Not
like,
quite.
for America, I mean, it's pretty close compared to, like,
Not quite.
Coming from Toronto to here, Like, it's outrageous. It seems very different than, like, one thing non-Americans will tell Americans about going to America is just the amount of food that shows up when you order something is fucking mind-boggling.
Insane. Somewhat like I'm used to it. I love going to a good American like eatery and the amount of food will get put on your plate. But if you're someone that doesn't travel and you're literally just going to the States and you order a meal, they put 3 meals in front of you.
Yeah.
Compared to literally the serving sizes we get here. And maybe people are looking at like, well, that's the case, Fienberg. How are you so fat? Well, Billy likes soda. But yeah, no, it is yeah. Unless you like the Cheesecake Factory opened here a few years ago, you can go there. You get your American style, portions.
Yeah, there's a few places where you can go to get giant.
I'm pro
portions.
big portions, by the way.
No,
you guys
shit.
are both anti big portions.
No shit, Tim.
No, but you can take it home with you.
I don't mind big pork. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I think it's actually a weird corner
different
to be in. To be pro small portions, it's a very weird corner to post up in. And it's yours. You can have it, but I think it's very strange. I'm pro big portions, and if you can't eat it all, take some home. I also think there's no shame in taking home leftovers. None at all.
I just prefer. I mean, what was the main reason? Like, you're doing a great job getting slim and trim, Tim. I will give you a lot of credit for that. But what was the one piece of advice that I gave you off the hop that you started doing?
Well, you gave me several pieces of advice.
Well, in terms
which I've been trying to follow.
In terms of plates.
Eat off my salad plates rather than my dinner plates.
Because why is
Which
that?
is what I have been doing.
Because why is
that?
Because
it seems like you're eating more because it fills up more of the space.
That's
and
a good idea.
the portion is way smaller. Yet guess what, Tim? You're still full.
Yeah, like I made one of those bird's nest type Chinese noodles or whatever yesterday. I thought it would be way too small, but it filled up my salad plate.
Yeah, it filled up your salad plate, and then you were full. Now, normally, if you had the big plate, you would have probably made double and ate double what you had. But
I usually have to chug like 2 or 3 bottles of water afterwards to feel full. But whatever, I do it.
You could just wait, and then you would feel full.
All
I'm saying is that the reason that I'm not pro big portions, like sometimes, yeah, gigantic portions are hilarious, like at an all-you-can-eat breakfast or something like that. Every now and then, but every meal that you get around here is just, it's 3 times the meal that you need. And then people eat it, and then they complain that they're super fat.
Well, but you don't need to eat it all. You can take it home. I don't think anyone's telling you have to.
No, but do you know what it's like to have like an entire meal in front of you? I mean, you were the one who said, if you finish everything on your plate, it seems to be a very common sentiment amongst people, is that if the food is in front of you, you're going to eat it.
It's the way I was raised. I was raised that it's disrespectful not to eat every single piece of food that's on your plate.
Why is it disrespectful?
Because somebody worked hard to make that meal for you and put it in front of you, and show them respect by eating the whole thing. That's sort of
It's such like an 1890s attitude.
Anyway, that's the way I was raised. I mean, especially if you were like not eating at home. If you went up to somebody's house, you definitely ate every piece of food that was on their plate because again, you're a guest. But that's where we got to. Anyway, I'm pro big portion sizes.
Yeah,
life is expensive. Life is hard. People should get the most bang for their buck. I'm here for that. Again, I'm a man for the people. Yeah. Bang for their buck is fine with me.
And
you don't have to eat it all.
If you're that kid working.
I feel like I'm in the minority with my point of view on this. I fully acknowledge that most people love big portions. That's why big portions exist, because people love them so much. I'm just saying that people don't need big portions.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I always
Mayor Bloomberg.
I always respect if the guy at Duke's wants to top off those fries extra nice, or when you're going for ice cream and the kid with the scooper, puts a little on top. Is Cam, our friend Cam, always.
Oh, there are McDonald's. I mean,
when you go to those,
when you go in person, there were days at
those...
McDonald's I wouldn't order certain things if I could see who was working, and I would order certain things if I saw who was working, because I knew they'd give me extra or wouldn't give me extra.
Oh my god!
You can just
order.
Work
it. Cam would always work the ladies with the ladle at the Chinese, be it the noodles, the chicken balls, whatever. Work that ladle extra hard.
Sure, why not?
I'm just saying that it's unnecessary, and I think it causes problems.
I agree.
I'm not. You call me
the Best Bet show. You ask whether people are pro small portion sizes or big portion sizes.
I mean, I've already acknowledged what, Tim? What did I say?
That you think you're on the minority. Although I don't know that you thought that at the start of this conversation.
I mean, I'm not an idiot. I'm not you who thinks that every opinion that I hold is the majority opinion.
I don't know. You seem to think that your opinion is the majority opinion almost all the time, actually, I would say.
No, I would say that I believe that, I mean, against you, when you make some sort of outrageous claim, then I am very good at differentiating between when I think that I'm right, which I think that I am about this, although I don't think that people agree with me on it. That's two separate things. I'm a very good arbiter of what people think and what people don't think, especially when it pertains to your ridiculous comments.
When I was younger, when we went out to eat, almost the first criterion for my father was what place gave the best portion sizes. And the first criticism of places would often be that they didn't give enough. So that was ingrained in me from a young age. Places that had like all you can eat salad bars, like all you can eat means all you can eat. But see, this dovetails lovely with my idea that all new restaurants should be obliged to have an all you can eat buffet of some sort. No, it's true. Again, it's a perfect idea. It's a perfect worst idea. Takes. No, it's a great take.
Let's get to the next.
It's a great take.
It's not a good.
Can I actually?
Yeah,
Pat,
go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have one thing that needs to be addressed here, and I feel like it's so common sense. Or sorry, not common sense. I feel like a lot of people have thought about this, and maybe it's even been discussed. But these new modern cars. They're not even modern. Even cars are probably like 8 years ago. They're like you're like wearing a signal to people who want to snatch and grab things in the car. When you lock the car, the rear view mirrors go side in. When you don't lock the car, they stay in their position.
And that's really smart.
And anyone can just scope the block and see the cars where the rear view mirror or the side view mirrors are haven't been
compacted.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, my car does that, and it reminds me to lock my car every time I get out of it.
It is a clear signal. Like they literally, your car is like wearing a sign that says "rob me." Now, I understand it is the responsibility of a person to lock their car, but I don't think if I don't lock my car, that my car should stand out because it's not locked in a way that locked cars do.
Well, I don't know if there is a way to turn that on or turn it off. I have no idea. But you have the trade-off of, did you forget to lock your car and someone's going to break in because they see that, or just the chances of someone knocking off your side mirror go through the roof if it's like that.
It's like 50-50.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's exactly the sort of person that I'm talking about. The guy that just texts when he drives the entire time and might sideswipe a whole bunch of cars and knock off their mirrors and just keep on driving.
But it's a parked car. It's 50-50.
It's a parked car. It's 50-50. You don't need to stop, Geoff.
I guess, but I just picture like Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. They can just drive the block and see who's left, who hasn't hit lock tonight.
Yes, because there's one set of thieves that were really good at their job. It was the sticky bandits.
Well,
that's how you succeed in life. They
job.
only got out because there was a prison riot for a second crime spree, which they also got caught in like 3 days for. I never understood why they just left the kid alone. Okay, he's got photos of them. This is the thing about two that always got me. Okay, they have photos of Marv and Harry breaking into the toy chest. They are fugitives from the law who broke out of prison. Their photos are everywhere. Why would anyone be surprised that they're at Duncan's toy chest committing crimes? They are escapees from prison. Of course they're out doing crime while they're on the lam. Why would they chase the kid down who put them in prison and fight through the house because he had photos of them when they already had their photos on America's Most Wanted every Saturday for breaking out of prison? Explain to me that.
And you're the same one who drafted Home Alone 2 over Home Alone in our best Christmas movie.
It's a better movie.
Really?
It doesn't mean it doesn't have
it sounds like it might be full of plot holes.
Although it has a plot hole you can drive a Mack truck through. But that doesn't mean it's not a better movie. It's just more entertaining and fun. But why do they care that the kid has photos of them? I don't understand it.
Let's get to the Sunday games. The Bengals are 5-point dogs in Buffalo. The over-under is 49 in this game. Spread keeps growing towards the Bills, although I don't think that anyone would feel comfortable taking the Bills at this point with jittery Josh at quarterback. It was funny. I mean, for as much as you mentioned it, Tim, and the more that I scoffed at it, like we kind of got the entire Josh Allen experience in the first round of the playoffs. Now, I don't know if that was just him getting it all out of his system, because he still made like the crazy plays that you would want to see Josh Allen make. Like, oh my God, he made that throw. That's fucking incredible. And I wasn't joking with Geoff at the beginning, is when he got all that confidence early about making the big play, it's just like, hey, I'll just do this every time. Instead of taking the world's easiest passes to move the ball down the field. Like, it was just very poor decision-making, poor play calling. He never really ran in the game, which I thought was really strange. So you have the entire Bills side. And I actually thought their defense did play quite well, especially on a per-play basis of shutting down, Skylar Thompson's not Joe Burrow, put it that way. But 3 O-linemen out for the Bengals now? Like, eventually there's a point of no return, isn't there?
Miami had a bunch of offensive linemen out. Didn't seem to affect them.
They were outgained by over 200 yards and probably close to 3 yards per play. So it did actually affect them greatly. I don't know. Every year when the Chargers are done, I give Paul and the Mafia my support. They have my support.
Oh, I see. You're allowed to support other teams. I see how it works. But God forbid I do that.
Geoff isn't
Excuse
cursed.
me?
God forbid I support other teams.
I'm very consistent.
Yeah, you didn't just try to curse your friend Jeff's favorite team out of nowhere.
I'm just saying.
Since when are you a Chargers fan, Tim?
Your team was still alive, and you were like giving me your support.
If my team was eliminated, I always caveat.
If you won your Week 17 game, you would have made the playoffs.
Yes, I know.
So I'm just saying, your support was unwanted and premature. I am just saying, like a lot of people around me, we kind of either hate the Bills or love the Bills because we're so close to them. I like the Bills. I want to see something good for them, their fans. Paul's mom, Morency, Brian Blessing, forever. I'm supporting the Bills, so I'm going to pick the Bills. And Pat kind of alluded to it. Like, at some point, the offensive line, I don't know, that feels like a difference maker. This is more of like a heart than head pick, but I would bet the Bills. I'll probably be real money betting the Bills. Mafia.
More importantly, did your friend and his son attend Orchard Park on Sunday?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he did. The both of them?
Insane. Yeah, insane.
Have you spoken to him since? And was it as vicious as we anticipated?
I would just say, yeah, don't worry. My head coach is still dumber than him.
I'm going to take Cincinnati. I'm just going to take a blind play on Burrow in 5 points, and I bet you by the time, unless something significant happens to the injury report, this line's just been growing all week long. That maybe you get 6 by the time that Sunday rolls around. So I'm just going to blindly back Joe Burrow here for them to cover the spread.
Why is the line growing?
The offensive line. People are like genuinely concerned about it.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about this because, like, you think of all the important positions, like, aren't the Bengals every bit as good, if not better, at every single important position, just about?
I mean, I don't know. I think these teams are very...
Like, where's the advantage, really, for Buffalo in this game?
Buffalo has a better defense.
Sure, but it's certainly not an elite defense. We saw it last week. It didn't play elite.
I mean, sure. They can't tackle.
Last week, Buffalo is not.
You don't think that any team in the league can tackle? Tim, can no one tackle? Every week you come on, well, they can't tackle and they can't tackle.
But to be fair, there's a lot of terrible teams this year. Paul will be the first one to stipulate the Bills struggle tackling against the run.
I think the Bills literally saw Skylar Thompson was playing last week, and they started off with some emotion from the home crowd. And I don't know. I don't think they even gave like a full. I think they underestimated the Dolphins.
That's a concern. That's concerning in terms of like.
You're probably right, but
how
maybe
well prepared
also,
they are.
That's also human. That's also human nature. So I'm not gonna I'm not really. I don't know. I've already said this is like a head pick more than a heart pick more than a head pick. So I'm not going to add any logic. I apologize for interjecting. I'm on the Bills. Although I saw this stat on Walter Football that Joe Burrow was 31-11 ATS when not favored by more than a touchdown. I assume that includes college, or no? That's only 42 games. No, yeah, that's his ATS record when he doesn't have to cover by a touchdown. He's a machine. So Pat's on to something. With that, I'm betting Burrow. I'm taking points.
Yeah, I think these teams are pretty equal, minus Josh Allen did get sacked 7 times against the Dolphins because they were just going all-out blitz the entire time. Why they kept taking those shots, but I think almost everywhere. Like the defense for Buffalo is better, the run defense is better for the Bengals. At least it has been in the second half of the season. The pass defense better for the Buffalo Bills. The offensive line is still better on the Bills right now against this banged-up unit. Everyone else is like kind of a push, to tell you the truth. Like Chase is great, but so is Diggs. Joe Burrow is amazing, but so was Josh Allen. Like, these are very similar teams.
Yeah, they are similar. Both gave very poor performances, I thought, last week. I'll take the 5 points, but I will tease this game over.
Cincinnati.
There'll be quite a few points scored.
Oh, to the over. So you're teasing the line down to 43, over 43?
Correct. Okay. That is correct.
I mean, this is really, I guess Philly, you could say that. I don't think Kansas City's going to get like disastrous weather. This feels like the only game that could really have disastrous weather if it was to come.
You would think so.
Final game.
Both teams played horrible last week.
Oh, just terrible.
But they won. Who cares?
Very well. You're right. It is
survive in advance. It's the play. Survive in advance.
And as we've seen, first round performance in the NFL rarely translates to second round performance.
Yeah, 100%.
Dallas at San Francisco. This line is shorter than I thought it would be. It's 3.5 at DraftKings Sportsbook right now. 46 is the over-under. 2 extra days of rest for the 49ers. I don't know. There's something just really confusing about this line to me. I really like the 49ers. I mean, Tim, you were onto it with Tampa. They were frauds. Geoff and I were way wrong on that one. The Niners aren't. The Niners are not frauds, and it feels like they're just going to crush Dallas.
Well, San Francisco sucks in their secondary, and Dallas is going to take shots at it. Seattle exploited it quite effectively, but just couldn't keep it going. But my goodness, Dallas should be able to keep it going. I like the Cowboys here. The one place the Niners are terrible is on their secondary. They can get beat deep. I expect Dallas to take shots at them, to beat them deep, and they have the weapons to do so. And while Purdy steadied the ship and got them to play very well in the second half, he was anything but steady in that first half. And I don't think that a team of Dallas's quality is going to let him off the hook if he starts shakily again. And is McCaffrey going to take full advantage of Dallas the way he did with Seattle? I don't think so. I think he'll be ready for what Debo does. I don't think so. I think it'll be a very, very close game. I kind of lean Dallas in this game in terms of who I think is going to win. So I'm going to take Dallas in the points. But I'm not enough that I'm going to tease Dallas up to 9.5 because that's not a good tease to 9.5. So I am going to tease this over up as well to 40. I think there will be points scored in this game. I think both teams are capable of it. I am concerned about special teams for Dallas. I don't think it's airtight. But Dak played really well last night. And a Dak that plays well is a better team than San Francisco is with Brock Purdy, no matter how well he plays. If Dak plays well, I don't know how the Niners will win.
Unfortunately,
if he doesn't play great, then the Niners will. Yep.
Sure, but like if you take the track record of Dak so far this season, I think that both the praise and hate swings way too far in either direction for Dak. Sure. But I mean, he threw 4 touchdowns, rushed for another. This is the same guy that led the league in picks all year. Like I get that the San Francisco secondary isn't great. You turn them over once or twice, it's game over for Dallas because their defense, shockingly, also sucks.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I think it's a very interesting and intriguing game. I think the line is right. Dallas should be slightly more than a field goal dog, but I think Dallas has got something going here. I kind of Dallas, just the way like people sort of were shrugging the Rams off last year. They go on that Monday Night Football game, they kill their opponent, and then they went all the way. Dallas has got that sort of swagger about them. Perhaps they're somehow. I mean, for Dallas, they're sort of sliding under the radar a little bit. talking about Philly, Buffalo, Cincinnati,
who is
Chiefs, and yet Dallas is
I mean, have you not paid attention to any news? Dallas is the talk of the nation right now.
Well, today they are because they won on a Monday night. But
and they're
as much as Dallas,
Cowboys.
things are never quiet about Dallas, but as much as they can be, they kind of are until they win this week. And I like their chances. I think Brock Purdy's magical run perhaps comes to an end this week. In fact, I think it will.
Geoff, have you noticed that Tim has picked against his Super Bowl winner each of the past 2 weeks?
I have not noticed that, Pat.
Yeah, that San Francisco's not actually any good. All of this
No, I think they are good. But...
I don't know. You said they were going to win the Super Bowl, yet they can't beat Dallas by 3.5? Come on.
I don't know.
We see what you're doing. We see what you're doing. And it's working.
I also did not pick San
Congratulations.
Francisco to win the Super Bowl. I also did not pick them to win the Super Bowl.
To go to the Super Bowl. Yes.
I'm incredibly torn on this game, and I'd also acknowledge last night was one of my biggest betting fails of the football season, in that I feel like I predetermined that bet a month ago. I was looking at it. I have bet against Tampa. The last time I bet on Tampa, Pat, was the game in England versus Seattle, or maybe it was Germany.
Munich.
And then they had their bye week. And then I bet against them every single game, 7 games straight, talking about how shit they are, but acknowledging, like, watching them play that Panther game down 14 points, or picking against them in those Saints games, being like, picking against Tampa here. But if and when they win the South, I'm going to bet them in that wild card game at home. Like, the whole time. Like, I'm picking against them this week, but they're going to make the playoffs. I'm going to bet them in that wild card game. What a horrible miscalculation. Jesus. So credit to Dallas. What a great win for them. I'm so torn on this game. Has the coin picked it?
Yes, the coin has selected the San Francisco 49ers.
I'll take Dallas.
So here's, just the outside of the box thinking of what normally happens to Dallas in these situations is, had they have lost to Tampa Bay, Sean Payton is their coach, which would be a big win for them. But now that they've won, Mike McCarthy can't be fired, so they obviously lose by like 35 points this week. So
yeah, you're probably right. I could totally bet against the pick I just made. I have no real opinion. It does appear that this is a game that the what do you call it? Like the professionals or wise guys have made a stand on Dallas. So I'm going against the coin, and I guess I'm siding with the wise guys. But we could get to Sunday, and I could bet the 49ers, because I got no clue how I feel about this thing. It's a playoff rematch from last year, where San Fran went in there and just completely embarrassed them from the first snap. And I think Dallas matches up well, though.
Dallas does match up well.
How does Dallas match up well?
Running backs. Dallas can handle those from the San Francisco perspective.
Yeah, Dallas has speed, right? And that's the advantage I think they have.
You think that they're faster than the 49ers?
I think they have enough speed to mitigate it. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be like a 37-34 type of game.
Okay.
And I'll take Dallas's firepower is every bit as equal of San Francisco's, I think. So.
Okay. You guys are still in the Super Lock competition after last week, after 2 losses.
God, well, I have to go first this time, don't I? Because Geoff went first last time.
That is correct.
I don't love anything.
I don't love anything.
Well, do you guys both want to defer to next week and keep the competition going? Because the new rule is we're no longer flipping a coin. If you guys tie, I win.
That's not true.
I'll defer to next week.
We'll make sure that we pick the opposite sides of the Super Bowl just to make sure that doesn't happen.
I would defer to next week if you wanted, because I don't have a confidence level on anything here. But if Tim's got a pick, then I've got to respond.
Well, let me think here. The Chiefs and the Bills play indoors next week. No matter what the line is, Kansas City will demolish them.
What is that line?
2.5.
No, on a neutral field.
Bills minus 2.5?
Yeah.
No, the Chiefs can never be underdogs. Mahomes can never be an underdog in this game.
The Bills were 2-point dogs in Kansas City. No, the Bills were favored in Kansas City earlier this year by 2 points.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Pat, you're right. You're 100% right then.
I think the Chiefs have got to be... Well, I guess it also depends how this week goes, too. Yeah. The Chiefs kill Jacksonville, and the Bills escape. Great. If Mahomes is getting points, that I love
Let's
it
just
even
say
more.
they win with like equally impressed.
Make some picks for this week.
No, I'll defer.
No, there's no
I'll
deferring.
defer.
You guys both
But Geoff
lose
and I have
if you don't
decided
make
to
it.
defer.
I don't give a shit. It's a super lock segment. Make some fucking picks. And it's your
Like
pick
you said, we
first.
should defer. I'll take the Giants plus 7.5 then.
Not the unbeatable Dallas Cowboys. I'm shocked. Geoff, your pick.
I didn't even take them in my teaser, for heaven's sake, so I don't think it's that much.
Why don't you take the over in one of these games then as your pick?
I took 2 overs in my teaser.
I'm saying as your super lock, why don't you take an over instead?
No, I haven't done that all season. I'm not going down with that.
Philadelphia.
So we're going to end it this week then.
I don't love anything, so we can end it this week. Like, whatever.
Okay, sure.
There we go. That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Both DraftKings Listeners Leagues are down in the description, by the way. PGA, which locks on Thursday, and football, which obviously locks on Saturday when the game starts. So fill those up. They're both smaller this week. I haven't been able to tweet them out because I can't tweet anymore, and I didn't have them until today, like right before the show. I usually get them on Sunday, but I always forget about, I forget about holidays when we have them, Geoff. I always forget about like American-only holidays.
Yeah, I saw their like afternoon early NBA games, so I knew something must have been happening.
There we are. So I want to thank everyone. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I want to thank the Coin and Paul and Geoff and me and Tim Undercust.
Tim Andergust.
That is not my name.
For being here today. We'll be back next week with the championship games. Are we going to do anything for the week in between? I wanted to read, that show that I always release at Super Bowl time, like the Super Bowl menu show? I feel like we need to update that show, that maybe the three of us get together to come up with all of the things that are on the menu, and then I present it to Cam to make his picks for the best bet show.
I do like that idea.
Or we can just do me, Pizzola, and Cam best bet Super Bowl food.
That would be great. I wonder what Cam's gold pick would be. Now, he has trouble making 3 picks a week. When it comes to football games, how are you ever going to get him down to 3 mineral picks for that? That would be great watching. I'd love that.
Maybe we'll do a draft for it or something like that. We'll come up with all the items. I'll make some DFS pricing or do something for it. Geoff, do you have a number one? What do you think the number one pick is? Maybe we should save this because I know what the number one. I know what my number one pick is for Super Bowl Sunday. But that's
food?
Me. Yeah, like food-wise.
I'm a simple like pizza wings guy. I'm not looking for...
I was going to say wings. I just think just have as many wings as possible. Maybe even have a competition, Tim. A wing eating competition. Maybe we'll do that this year just for you and you can compete and we'll film it.
I think it should be a matzo sticks eating contest.
Well, they get too hot if you just take them right out.
That's true.
All right, that will do it for the show. Tune in Wednesday with Tambo for golf, Thursday with Rob and Cam for best bets for the week, Friday with Tambo again, and then research shows started all back up for golf next Sunday. So tune into all the shows, smash the like, all that fun stuff. I'm Pat Mayo, and we'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!